And welcome back to another 0 Point Review. I am Jeff from the Suns and Shadows podcast, and we're talking Werewolf by Night. Just dropped on Disney Plus late last night, but I watched it this morning, and I got a non-spoiler review for you. Just wanted to get into a lot of the good with this. There's a lot to unpack. If you love your classic monster movies, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. I absolutely loved how it was shot. The cinematography was excellent. I did like the black and white feel for and view of the whole episode. Definitely had a lot going on for it. I also really liked the story and how paced out it was. You jumped like right in. It felt like you were getting in the middle of a murder mystery from like older years. Like you just got right into the meat and potatoes of the story. Yeah, it's a little slow to build up, but once it gets rolling, it is straightforward to the very end. And I also really like the choreography of the fight scenes. The fight scenes were tremendous. I was very pleased. It was a little on the gory side. They didn't go too crazy with the gore or even like the transformation sequences, but there was enough there to make you go, oh, and oh crap, and ooh, that was gnarly. So there's definitely a lot going for Werewolf by Night. Ultimately, I want to say the cinematography, the score, and the soundtrack really accentuated Werewolf by Night. It really brought the overall picture together. I'll go so far as to say this is one of my favorite television Marvel adaptations that they've done so far. I don't know if I put it above WandaVision, but it's pretty damn close. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into a little bit of the nitpicky stuff, but we're not going to get into spoilers. Some of the nitpicky things I'm going to go ahead and say is the short runtime of this. It clocks in at about 55 minutes, including credits. Now, please be advised, this is not a spoiler part. There's no mid or end credits. So once the credits roll, don't be expecting that you're going to get that. That's just not here. It would have been nice. I think it would have helped place where this fits in the overall MCU. It does not do that. That's also the other point I want to make is with this particular episode or television special event or presentation, as the opening credits indicated, it's really hard to see where this fits in the MCU. There's no hints, there's no drops, there's really nothing. It just mentions the Bloodstone, which is a key component of, Marvel Dark, as I would probably call it. And I I like this, but I also have a hard time figuring out where it places in the MCU overall. And part of that might be this is just it feels like it's just a one-off. It doesn't feel like we're building for another show or another special presentation. I don't know. Maybe every October we get another Werewolf by Night. I know this was a comic book series. My co-host Kevin is a little more familiar with it, and that's who you might be getting some more spoiler discussion points from. But I did like this, but I do see that there's a little bit of a problem with the runtime. It felt way short. Like it easily could have been another 20, 30 minutes because some of the things that were missing, and like I said, this is the nitpicky part for me, is all the other bounty hunters, you only get little bits and pieces. There's only enough to get connected to like about 3 or 4 of them, yet there's several other characters. And you get the brief introduction, you don't really get much else beyond that. So I felt like there could have been fleshed out a little bit more so that like as the events unfolded, you could have attached a little bit more to everybody else or not attached. You could have rooted against some of these bounty hunters or rooted for some of them, depending on who they are and what they do in the story, whether they actually play a role or not. And, I felt like that was something that was missing, is being able to connect and understand everybody's story. It felt like this was a great setup for a part 2, but at the same time, it really had a satisfying conclusion at the end. So you take the good with the bad. Definitely, this was a short run time. It needed a little more fleshed out for the side characters. And it definitely felt like this could be a series. Like we got She-Hulk at 9 episodes. We're 8 episodes in, and we're still wondering what the hell is really going on in the show. despite its predictable nature. But with this is almost way too good to just keep to one. They definitely should be evaluating for this is the show that this is the item that should have been in a TV series. Like these characters and stories that are completely out of the box for Marvel, like WandaVision. This is a show that definitely could fit that mold of, hey, we're outside of the scope, outside of the box, but it's still enough to keep you entertained. It's very exciting. And so that's about what I got for like some of the mixed and like, some of the nitpicky stuff. Now I will say, as we drift more towards like, I'll call it like the ugly segment, there might be a mixed reaction to the werewolf design. Not spoiler alert, this is Werewolf. It's in the freaking title. But there might be some drawback to how some people might look at the werewolf designs. But if you're accustomed to the classic movie designs from the Marvel movie or the Universal movies, then you'll like this. You'll see where it's at. Even like Teen Wolf, like the classic 80s movie. It's got that kind of a design. And so you're getting something a bit more humanistic. You actually get to see the emotions in the face, not just in what you would normally see in the eyes and some of the more modern takes. But this is a throwback. This is designed to fit how these older movies looked. Now, so that might be something that's a bit of a drawback. The only other thing I can point out is some of the CGI. Most of the time it blends in very well, but it does at times stick out, and you'll notice when it's there, but there are going to be times when you don't notice it and you have to look really close to be, oh, that was CGI. That's pretty well done. So there's not too much on the drawbacks for this. There's a little bit of nitpicking, but hey, Werewolf by Night, this is a great way to start off an October month for Marvel, for Disney Plus. This is a hell of a fun time. I could not recommend this more. My overall assessment is 2 thumbs up. Definitely check it out, and we'll see you next time with Kevin with a bit more of a spoiler review discussion. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at sunsandshadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.